The time has come to finally tackle this piece. This is going to be Mr. CC DIY's printer stand. I got this while thrifting, and as you can see, it was pretty inexpensive. One of the things I love about thrifting is how eco-friendly it is because you're keeping things out of a landfill just by purchasing at a thrift store. I'm gonna get started on this piece right now. I'm Jen, this is Copper Cactus DIY. Welcome to the Eeko Challenge. This one is hosted by Mara at Borderline Furniture RX, and I'm already getting going by vacuuming, something this piece really needed after so long in my garage. I scraped off the sticker and cleaned with hot soapy water, which I wiped back with hot clean water while I assessed the piece. Talk stuff. This top drawer is not coming out right now, but I'm gonna get that to happen because I'm gonna take the back of this thing off. The staples are all kind of popped anyway. They're very rusty. It does fit perfectly in the back, so like I don't want to have to recut a new piece of backing, but I have to pop that off in order to get this drawer out, and I have to get this drawer out because I want to do the whole thing, which means I have to clean it all, and I want it to be Howard feed wax on all of this very dry plywood that it's created out of. I'm completely reorienting this. This is going to be a printer stand for Mr. CC DIY, and pretty much what he needs more than anything else is storage. I think it looks super cute just like this. I'm removing this drawer. I will keep all of this for scrap. After some final disassembly, I did my final cleaning. Then, using a 100 grit sanding disc, I sanded to bare wood on the top. Then I switched out to a 150 grit and I gave a pretty decent scuff sanding to everything else. After sanding and wiping this thing down and assessing all of the issues, there are a few. I don't know if I showed this in the before, but this is an actual crack. I'm obviously going to have to level this out somehow, and if I don't want to go over this piece, then I have to level it out just to the height of this piece, but I'm also going to have to fill all of these holes. The drawer hardware is actually pretty crooked, and it really appears that the drawer is a little crooked too, but it's really not. It's this top piece. I'm not going to try to screw that in any tighter. That'll unfortunately cause this thing to rack more, and it already is kind of racking. And then on top, there are a number of stains and things. There's this strange looking stain. There are these 3 spots. They look like burn marks, but there's no like indentation, so I think it's just stuff coming out in the wood. I'm probably going to paint the whole thing, and then I'm going to do a faux finish on top. I used DAP plastic wood and a Japan scraper, and I started with coat 1 of 3 that I needed for this to be flat and smooth. I sanded between each with a 150 grit, and I did most of this off camera because it's pretty boring, right? The color started in the spray tent. I have the fan on this, so while I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm gonna get started working on scuffing the inside of the back because I am going to have to seal this up with some spray paint in order for me to do the painting that I want to do on the inside of this cabinet. So this way I shouldn't have any issues with doing that. one of the things that I was loving about this challenge is the theme, Whimsical Menagerie. Mr. CCDIY is a super nature guy. He loves to go hiking and adventuring, and he's super outdoorsy. So I thought a fun way to represent Whimsical Menagerie in his piece would be these rub-on transfers. Are these the cutest or what? So cute. Now, I've never used rub-on transfers before. This is my first time. I've had these for a while, so I'm hoping that they're still good. And that's another thing that I wanted to do, like in an Eeko way in this piece, is to just shop my stash. So I'm gonna actually like test these out. The one that won't go with the color tone that I'm doing, the only one in fact, so I have one time to test, it's this tree. I'm gonna test this off camera right now so I can know what I'm doing when I get to this step. Okay, yeah, so that actually went pretty good. It went on all right. I do have some notes for myself here. Cut the backer much smaller. I need to cut like directly around the image as close as possible because I don't know if you can see it here, but over here on the side a little bit at the top, there is some sticky residue. Also, when I'm peeling back the plastic, you can see these lines that are across this. That's everywhere that it got like stopped up on its way off. But that's also okay if I can blend in, because here's the other thing. These stickers are shiny, which does not work for what I want to do on the inside of his cabinet. So I'm going to test if a 220 grit will dull it back without killing the image. Not only to dull it, which it looks like it's working pretty good, but also I'm going to want to put a top coat on this piece. All right, I'm going to test this with my longtime favorite Modern Masters Dead Flat Varnish. Let's see how it does. It will sort of rehydrate it, the image, but also I want to see how it does over residue just in case, if it'll dull that. And if the dulled out part of the image, if I can scrape this off. So I'm going to actually let this cure for probably like 3 days, and then I will hopefully remember to bring you back in and do a scratch test on this. 6 days later. Let's see if I've got a piece of wood that will work for that bottom. That's way too thick. That is definitely not wide enough. I could make some glue blocks out of this. You know, cut a small block, glue it in here so it'll stabilize this base. And I can make 2 of those. I'm sorry about the lighting out here, but this is the front edge, and this is only about 1/4 of an inch thick, which is the matching to this back edge, also only about 1/4 of an inch thick. So whatever I get needs to kind of fit in the middle here, about 1/4 of an inch thick. With my big natural bristle brush, I applied a generous coat of Howard Feed-In Wax to the outside areas of the drawer box, including the bottom, the back, and the side pieces. Then I left that to dry and cure for a few days. Okay, so here is what's happening right now. I'm going to use these as my corner blocks. Then I'm using this piece of poplar here, just a nice 1/4 inch, as my like stringer piece that's going across to span the width of this chipboard here. I want it to be secured up as high as it can go, and these pieces will help to do that. My tripod is dead right now, and I can't cut this while I'm holding the camera because that's just not safe. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you the whole glue up. I lied. Let's see how long this janky setup. lasts for. That long. I'm dry fitting everything and it looks 2 thumbs up. I don't want to glue this down. I just want to glue the blocks in. So let's use my Gorilla Wood glue. My big one, it dried out unfortunately. Oh, a little bit better than those. Let's squeeze out cleaner. Upper. Okay. Down. I've got the other one ready to go. Now let's do the same thing. I'll leave this overnight, and that's actually the last thing that I am going to do today. So, clock transition? Okay, good morning. Let's get some clamps off and see how we're looking here. Obviously, the wood glue is great, looks solid. This ain't going anywhere. All right, I'm gonna flip this over now and get measuring for the insert piece. This is the cutoff of the piece in Mr. CC DIY's current printer stand, which is a video that I did like ages ago. It was a fun Halloween challenge, but now that I'm looking at this and measuring, it's too thick. So even if this piece was like too small, I was considering farming his current printer stand, but I obviously can't do that because this is too thick. I am looking at these. They're also too thick. I don't really have a ton of time to go run out today. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this. The last thing I have to do in the garage is to just give a quick light scuff sand to this backer piece on the inside. That way this will have some tooth so that I can actually paint all the acrylics and latex and chalk and whatever on top of it. This is done now. I'm just gonna wipe it down and then bring it downstairs too and get ready to tack it back in. Okay, so you might all be thinking I'm off my rocker for using cardboard on a piece of furniture, but here are some facts. Starting with, chipboard is basically cardboard too, but one, this entire process only took me 55 minutes. If I ran to the hardware store, sourced a plank of wood, waited around for an employee to cut it to about size, and then came home to likely have to still alter it slightly in my area, that likely would have taken just as long. 2, I'm now even more eco because I'm keeping even more from a landfill. 3, if the other furniture and items in my house that I've created from cardboard and use daily, mind you, are any indication, then this thing could last for nearly 5 years, just like these coasters. And 4, he's not storing his bowling ball collection, so it doesn't have to support that much weight, just a few reams of paper and a book or two. I tested a few methods, but ultimately ended up with about 2 thicknesses of cardboard, slightly bigger than to size on one of the long sides. I used packing paper to decoupage for rigidity, and I left everything to dry under parchment paper and a couple of heavy books for about 2 days. I grabbed goggles, a hammer, and my small set of tack nails, and I tacked the back panel on while my cardboard insert piece dried. For my final prep step, I filled the holes that I left from removing the lower drawer hardware, then I left this to dry for the night. In the morning, I finally finished most of the prep, including sanding that wood fill. The cardboard looked cool and it was mostly drying flat. I did one more quick dry fit, then I cut back any of the excess that I'd left during that decoupage step so I could get a smooth edge-to-edge and clean fit. It wasn't fully dry yet, so to make sure it didn't curl upwards, I hot glued it in just 4 dots to my cutting mat, and then I left it under the parchment and books. Then I could start painting. I used Glad Press and Seal to mask off my drop cloth under the edges, and I used an angled purdy dry to apply this first coat. I slightly tinted the leftover paint from my Life of a Show Flipper challenge piece, and this applied thick but evenly. The top got 1 coat, everywhere else got a second coat. For the top, I am doing a faux finish, and I'm trying to get kind of like a one process faux, but wood grain, but with 2 colors. And I'm going to be using this cherry. This is Folk Art by Plaid, and it's a cherry stain. I have no idea when I got this, how long I've had it, if this kind of thing is even still available. But I've tested this on a sample board and it performs a lot like a gel stain, so a water-based gel stain. If you wanted to get like the same look, I'm not really like teaching this because this is the first time I'm trying this finish other than this like 2-inch moment on my sample board. But if you want to get the same look anyway, you could get any kind of like red-based, orange-based cherry type gel stain. And then I'm using also this Folk Art Home Decor wood tint. This is in walnut. I'm going to be mixing these two. This one's a little thicker. This is a little thinner, but they are still both kind of thick. You're supposed to shake and or stir both of these. I'm going to be using this 2-inch floppy purdy brush to apply it, and I'll just put a little bit of each on this lid. Then I'm going to put one of each color on each side of this purdy, and then I will go in this motion sideways to apply it. About an hour later, I added the final tint coat to the top and this drawer face, and I left everything to dry for the night. I filmed this B-roll of the varnish that I used on the top and drawer front, and then promptly forgot to film any of doing the varnish on the top and drawer front. I gave it 2 and then left it to dry for the night. Dude, I really tried with this cardboard insert, but unfortunately that's not gonna happen. This is not fitting, and I'm just not gonna try to force this to fit. As much as it pains me, I am going to go out and buy something new for this. I am going to buy wood, and I think what I'll start with is going to the thrift store to see if I can find like a tray. Those trays, they're usually about a 1/4 inch ply on the bottom, so I'm gonna see if I can find that, and if I can, that will fit in my car to bring home so I can just cut it down to perfect size myself. If you're seeing me overlay some of any of that footage right now, then you know that that's how it worked out. And this cardboard, while a solid effort, is ultimately a hard pass for me. But I just didn't really want to wait to start the second coat on the rest of the piece, so I left the cardboard insert in the piece so that I could avoid hitting the chipboard beneath, and I came in with a slightly damp purdy plus my spray bottle I have about 6 ounces of this paint, so I'm trying to stretch it as best as I can, and I gave this a really solid second coat. This is further tinted. Like I said, I think already in this video, that I went a little heavier with the yellow. I wanted this more of a woody green, and that's this color, so this should dry even a little bit darker, and I'm gonna leave it to dry overnight. With the insert installed and leveled out, I could finally paint the whole thing. The woody green was low, so in case I needed that for touch-ups, I used a lighter green as a base. I just got kind of sloppy with it because this will all be in a background scene that's going with the transfers anyway, and it's getting many layers of paint colors. So I used a hairdryer on cool to speed dry this first coat. I need to lay down a background for the transfers so that I can blend in finer details later, and to do that I used a mix of craft acrylics and chalk paints, including the base color, and that would help me with some blending as I went along. I applied it really sloppy but with purpose for the location of each shade. I want most of the yellow and the lighter colors nearer to where the sun might filter in at the top, and mostly just in the back. But I do have it filtering through on the sides in a teeny little bit, just so it kind of blends into the entire scene. For what would be the forest floor, I'll blend a mix of brown and green shades, and I used a different brush for each shade that I used, as much as I could anyway, and then I used a large blending brush to soften all the lines, and I wiped that off periodically on a dry rag that was just sitting in front of me. I went over this a few times until I got the base blend that I was looking for. And it dried pretty quick, so I was able to put on like multiple coats pretty much at the same time. After the paint had a night to dry, I started my transfers, and warning, cuteness overload montage starts right now. I scuffed these transfers like I mentioned earlier, but I did that off camera, so all I had left was top coat. That's my cue to say thanks to my peeps at the live premiere. I've had fun chatting this morning, even though this is sort of Inception. Don't forget to leave a comment below, everybody. Thanks to actually anyone who made it this far in the video, and thanks again to Mara for hosting this fun challenge. The playlist is linked below, and at the end, stay tuned for beauty shots. They're coming up next, but that's all my work for today, so later, peeps!
Hey, little dude.
There's a few little dudes.
Yeah, there's all sorts of dudes in there. I like the wood on it. That turned out really nice. It's not so oversized like what I have now.
No, it's not. Are you gonna open it?
Oh. Oh, there's another one. Hey, dude.